Florida's a 7:00 game. What the H? I mean, I want that to be a 3:30 peach of a game. And Tennessee's holding up its end of the deal, but Florida is not. That tells me right then and there that ESPN doesn't think highly of Billy Napier. And don't be afraid to read too much into these TV times, okay? Because they want their prime game on at 3:30, right, Caleb?
Oh, exactly. Correct. They do. And it's CBS, because CBS is still carrying the prime games for one more year for Tennessee.
Right.
For the SEC, excuse me.
So CBS went with what game instead? We hear from the SEC spring meetings. I mean, to me, Tennessee not being a 3:30 game is an absolute just shame. It should be a 3:30 game all the time. Now, I will say this. I think that Tennessee at a 7:00 game, you're not going to want to hear this, but I don't think that's the best situation for them. It's a football team who practices in the morning. It's Georgia, South Carolina at the 3:30 game. You know, it's funny, if not for that one South Carolina game, it's probably Tennessee, Florida. But nevertheless, I don't think this helps Tennessee. I don't think you like to be on the road in a hotel waiting for a kickoff time. I think that was evident at South Carolina. I think the opposite was evident when they played LSU at 11 Central. I don't think this 7:00 time is good for Tennessee. Doesn't mean that it's going to affect the point spread or my judgment of the game, but it's not good for Tennessee. And I would much prefer that be on the 3:30 game instead of Georgia, South Carolina. Thank you, D, from the message board.
Yeah. 7:00 kickoff times always benefit the home team. Always, always, always. Noon kickoff times always benefit the road team. And I know Fred White would disagree because he would bring up that 99 loss to Arkansas where it was that 11 a.m. I think more than anything, that was just I think that neutralized it. Arkansas was not going to be lollygagging in that game after what happened the year before. And so that's a totally different story. Usually, though, that's how it typically works. You're right. I mean, these night games, that same day, Alabama plays South Florida at 3:30. ABC is carrying that game, funny enough. And I'm thinking, y'all couldn't have gotten Tennessee, Florida for that one? And no, you're right. It kind of leads you to believe, is there a lack of faith in Billy Napier? Is that going to creep into Tennessee? Are they going to relax a little bit too much for this Florida game? They shouldn't. You should never relax for Florida if you're Tennessee, if you know anything about history in this series. But yeah, I think a favored team on the road, the worst setting is to play a night game when you're a favored team on the road.
Completely agree. I mean, you would rather that be noon and that sort of thing. But specifically talking to Cooper, and he's on the YouTube channel now, you know, he just said you would rather get up and get things done. I mean, noon's perfect, and especially on the road, then you're able to come back and you're able to have a meal, and if you win, enjoy the festivities and that sort of thing. But a 7:00 game is just terrible for any road team. But we do know this. The crowd will certainly be into it, whether it's 3:30 or 7:00. That crowd is pretty raucous. Now, Florida can be taken out. I've seen that happen before, where they just disappear for 2 quarters at times. But they're going to be ready to play that game, and the fans will be ready because of the revenge factor as well.
Yeah, and can we talk a little bit of history on this? Because for those who don't know, Tennessee, Florida made the SEC on CBS. Just for that game made it. And that's never going to be a thing again. We thought this would be the last year for it, but with it not happening and the SEC moving from CBS, I think there's something a little from 96. I wrote about this yesterday. It was in the CBS primetime game. It kicked off SEC on CBS from 98 to 2001. Those 4 years, the college football world stopped for that game.
Yep.
And it lived up to its billing, and it's sad that that's ever going to happen. But Tennessee fans can take solace in the fact that even though Florida dominated towards the end, and it's barely a rivalry now, the last time they played on CBS, Tennessee got the win last year.
Good history there. Jacob Warren says what?
What's up, everybody? This is Jacob Warren asking you to like, subscribe, and share. Dave needs this.
He does. So go ahead and do that right now. And we'll have Cooper Mays giving you some tips as well coming up. I had an interesting recording session with him yesterday. Cooper is absolutely fantastic. Check it out on the YouTube page.